Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. Family Plot is back to help you kick off another growing season. Getting the soil ready for planting can be the most important thing you do all season. Today we're going to talk about how to prepare your soil for planting. Also, Memphis area master gardeners are gearing up for this year's Spring Fling. We'll give you a preview. That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by Goodwin's Landscape and Garden Center in Germantown since 1943 and continuing to offer its plants for successful gardening with 7 greenhouses and 3 acres of plants, plus comprehensive landscape services. International Paper Foundation, the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Walter Battle. Walter is the Haywood County Extension Director. Ms. Jenny Fletcher is here. Ms. Jenny is the president of the Memphis Area Master Gardener Association. And Ms. Jean Ward Jones is here. Ms. Jean is a master gardener right here in Shelby County. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, glad to be here.
All right, Walt. So spring is almost here.
Yes.
And I know gardeners are ready to get their hands dirty. So let's help them out.
Well, I tell you what, last year my plants looked like they just wasn't quite getting what they needed. So, you know, I dug around there and I saw where I had a lot of clay in my soil. Okay. So I said, I'm going to have to amend that. So what I did, you go out there and you get you some topsoil, and you can just go anywhere to get that. They sell it in bags at various places. And notice that this topsoil has like some wood fibers in it and just all kind of just good stuff. And then I'm going to add some cattle manure to that. Now we have quite a few cattle up there in my neck of the woods, so this is not hard to find. So we put that in there and mix that in, and that soil is really beginning to take form.
And let me ask you about the manure. So we want to make sure that manure has been composted.
It's been composted, yes, yes. Do not go out in the field and just get you some manure. That doesn't work. You want to buy you some good composted manure.
Okay, it doesn't even smell like manure
That's
anymore.
right, it doesn't even smell like it. It's been through all those heat cycles, and it's fine. Okay. And then also to add some more richness to this, I add some mushroom compost. And it is, I mean, this is some really good stuff right here. And it's just bringing that soil and it's going to open up those pore spaces. But sometimes, you know, it rains and we still need a little bit more. Okay. So I always add some vermiculite to my soils. Okay. It's going to open up, like I said, some pore spaces, because you think about it. You know, when that seed is planted, the first thing it's going to do is, you know, put that little main root down, and then it's going to put out all those little branches. So it wants to make it real easy. We want to make it real easy so that those little side lateral roots can get out there and absorb all that good nutrients that's there to grow those real good healthy tomatoes and squash and all those things. And also help with pore space as well. We add a little sand in there.
Just a little sand.
Just a little bit. Now, where I'm from, I don't do a lot of measurements because we just do a handful of this, a handful of that. But again, that's going to help open it up. And then I have another little special ingredient that I like to add, particularly if you grow grapes. Okay. A little Epsom salt.
Okay.
Epsom salt is very, very good. And also when you're tired from working in the garden, you just go and take your bath
and soak
get
in
some
it.
Epsom salt. So soak in it.
That's
so
right.
Epsom salt is good. It's going to add magnesium to the soil. And I tell you, now this is some good soil.
That's good.
Yes.
So what do y'all think, ladies? Does that look good?
What do you think
That
about
looks
that?
great.
That looks like
Yes.
I could grow in it.
I mean, yes, if I was a seed, I would be very, very, very happy in there and put forth some good cucumbers and beans and what have you. But there you go right there.
A nice little soil mix.
Yes, nice soil mix.
In my head, I can hear Mr. Jim Bogus say, what do we want? Pore space.
Pore space.
It's all about pore
It's all
space.
about pore space. And I think that's a good job. And also as gardeners, we don't mind getting our hands dirty.
We don't
That's
mind
part
that.
of it.
Now, are there any other amendments that we can add to the soil? I mean, do you add a fertilizer once you get finished with this and get your plants in the ground?
Well, yes, I do add, on some of my things I grow organically. Other things I do add fertilizer to. And also, if you're having some issues, sometimes you can add composted sawdust, particularly for blueberries. Blueberries love that composted sawdust. It just loves it. And other amendments, of course, is lime, to put calcium into our soil. And of course, we really like to see that lime added in the fall so that it'll be ready, that calcium will be ready by the time spring rolls around. But that's okay. You can still add it now. Okay. And that'll work.
All right. Well, look, let's talk a little bit about raised beds. Real popular now these days.
Yes.
Everybody has a raised bed. Schools now have raised beds. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, yes. First of all, you want to make sure that the raised bed is probably about 4 feet wide. Okay. Because the research kind of shows where the typical adult, about 4 feet is good enough. Okay. And also, I like to make them about 12 feet long. That's kind of what I like to do, particularly whenever I help a school put in a raised bed or whatever. I also like to go about 12 inches deep or a foot deep on topsoil. Okay. So build it where you can, have it with that depth. And I really like using landscape timbers because treated landscape timbers so that they won't rot. Now, some people like to use the railroad cross tires, but you have that
creosote.
Yeah, creosote. Right. Now, that can give you some issues.
I would stay away from that.
Yes, and I have seen people use old tires and all of that, and I guess it just kind of depends on what you would want, so to speak. So it's several materials out there. Obviously, there are concrete. You can put up concrete blocks or whatever.
As well.
And have something fancy out there as well. So it's just all types,
Okay. And what kind of plant material do you like to put in your raised beds?
Just like plant materials. Right. Well, I like to use squash. I put those in raised beds. I will grow snap beans in raised beds. I love to put onions, green onions in the beds. I'm just trying to think of some more things. I try not to put watermelons and cantaloupes because they take up space. Right. But usually those items that I just mentioned work well in a raised bed, and and also tomatoes. And a lot of times we're using those things for educational purposes also. So I want to get something that I know can grow well.
Okay. Now something else folks are going to do since you're starting to warm up now is put out mulch.
Yes.
So what is some good mulching material?
Well, now me personally, I like straw.
Oh, okay.
And of course, being in the area where I live, we grow a lot of wheat. So I can get a lot of wheat straw, so that's no problem for me to get it. But you can also use shredded newspaper. Some people use plastic. That's kind of a lot of labor intensive there. But if you want to use that, that's fine. Sure. Those are good mulching materials. And obviously, if you do use the plastics, it will warm the beds up quicker. And therefore, you can plant and you will get better weed control because obviously you just plant into the plastic.
Right.
So, that'll help you out with that.
Okay. And I like the shredded hardwood bark mulch. It's pretty much what I use
That's
at home.
fine as well, yes. Okay. Yes, nothing wrong with that. And that's going to give you some added benefit down the road as that decompose and break down. So, yes, all that's good.
All right, well, Walt, we appreciate that good information. We can't wait to get out in that garden.
Okay, I can't either.
There are a number of gardening events going on in the next couple of weeks. Here are just a few that might interest you. Hi, Miss Jeannie. Spring Fling. Let's tell the folks all about it.
The Memphis Area Master Gardeners are hosting their 12th annual Spring Fling this March 18th and 19th at the Red Barn at the Agri Center. This will be a 2-day event, Friday and Saturday, and it will run from 9 to 5 each day. We'll have approximately 47 local and out-of-town vendors that will provide plants naturally, and we'll have garden art, garden metalworks, garden tools, furniture, planters, we'll have artists, we'll have arts and crafts, just a plethora of things that we're going to offer. We'll have a lot of activities for the children. There will be earthworm presentation where they can see them and learn about them. They'll make their own garden hats. They'll make some sunflower windsocks. They'll plant their own sunflower seeds that they can take home with them. There'll be lots of giveaways for them and also a seed starting booth. We have a number of speakers that will present on both days. Jason Reeves from the UT Extension Office in Jackson, Nicholas Stadden from the Chelsea Garden, Margaret Gratz with butterflies, Carol Reese is always a big draw from Jackson. Jinx Farmer is going to talk about sustainable landscape, and David Glover is going to talk about honeybees. Okay. And then we're going to have some master gardeners do some great demonstrations.
And speaking of demonstrations,
yes,
Miss Jean is going to do leaf casting for us today, right?
Sort of.
Sort of, she says. All right, so we'll let you go ahead and get started.
All right, leaf casting is a way to use concrete and real leaves to make your own garden art. Personalize it however you need for your garden. In my backyard, I have an area that I call a blue room. And on the ground is a large elephant ears. Elephant ears are the most commonly used for leaf casting. Okay. And it brings together the blue bird bath and some other pieces of blue along with the purple annuals that I put in that area every year. Then I've also used large elephant ears to make a 3-tiered fountain. And out front, where we lost a large pear tree, I kept the stump. And I used large elephant ears to create sort of a sculpture in that area. You can use all kinds of leaves. Okay. This is a large hosta leaf that I just painted last night. This is a fatsia, a small fatsia leaf that I actually use in my living room. Nice. This is another fatsia that I painted like a caladium, and I use it in a pot with a pot full of caladiums, and it really sets them off. This is actually 4 small hosta leaves together, and I made it with a hole in the bottom so that I can put it on a stem, if you will, and put it in a patch of colorful flowers. Again, it sets them off real pretty. This is an arum. It's a winter leaf, and actually the only leaf I had that I could bring today for this demonstration. There, right? Yeah. You can see the real and the painted. To do it, you start with a patch of sand. You need to have it wet so that you can form it. The mound and the depth of that mound is what determines the bowl in your plant. Once you've got your concrete formed, you cover it with a piece of plastic, and then you put your leaf on it upside down so that you've got the veins showing at the top. And then that's what creates the real pretty form in your leaf casting. Now, once it's done, I'm not going to try to mix concrete today. That's a mess. And when you're mixing concrete, when you're playing with that concrete and emptying the bag and everything, there's a lot of powder, so you're going to want to wear a mask.
Be safe. Right.
You're certainly going to want to have your gloves. Right. The concrete that I use is concrete patcher. I generally get it in a 40-pound bag, so you need to be able to handle a little bit of weight. And when you're using those large elephant ears, they're pretty heavy too. Some of them can be 75 to 150 pounds once they're done. This is the way it looks after it has set for 48 hours. And as you can see, that edge is really, really rough, but as you can see, this edge is really, really smooth. And I get that smoothness by using this multi-tool. Man, I go to town on them. But if you're not that interested in that level of perfection, you know, sandpaper works pretty well as well.
I've used a hasp also on the edge.
Yeah, that'll work. And then to get that sheen. Now, a lot of people don't like the shiny part. Some people just want it to be, you know, a flat color, and that's fine too. But if you want the sheen, I use the metallic acrylic paint. And I get all of these at Hobby Lobby. I'm a regular customer there. I also use something that's called Pearl X Pigments. This gives it a really, really nice sheen, like stars shining on a dark night. Very, very nice.
How about that description?
And once you've painted it, of course, you want it to last, especially if it's outside. So it needs a sealer. And I've used lots of different kinds. What I have finally decided is the best is automotive enamel. I mean, cars are outside all the time, so it sort of stands to reason that this might be pretty good.
Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
It's clear.
Clear coat.
Okay.
So that's what I use for sealer, but there are lots of other things that can be used. And I have quite a collection of different brushes. The large one I use to just splash on the back coat. Smaller ones for the different touches, like making the points. And for that feathery look that I really like, I love these wide brushes.
Fan brushes.
Yeah, sand brushes. So this is the sort of thing that can keep you occupied and away from your housework for days and days.
Wow. These master gardeners are so creative and artistic, huh?
Yes, yes,
That's
they
pretty
are.
good.
It really is.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
We appreciate that, Miss Jeannie. Miss Jeannie, one more time. So when is Spring Fling?
Spring
What are the
Fling,
times?
March 18 and 19, 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday.
Both days.
Come out and join us. We have
Free event.
free event, free parking, free entry, free just having a ball looking at all the goodies that we're going to have to offer.
All right, doesn't get any better than that, folks. Come on down, Spring Fling. If you remember back last November, we planted these pansies in this bed. We incorporated some cow manure and some Osmocote, which is a slow-release nitrogen fertilizer, in this bed. And look at how beautiful these pansies are. It's warmed up a little bit, as you can see. The blooms are very prolific. Now we're going to go take a look at a bed which we actually planted at the same time that had no nitrogen. Now look at the difference. These pansies over here are pretty much dead, or they're not dead, they're dying. No fertilizer whatsoever. Here's your difference. All right, here's our Q&A session. Ladies, y'all jump in there and help us out, okay? All right, here's our first viewer email. I am frustrated with trying to grow cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. I try early spring and fall, and all I accomplish is feeding green worms, she says. The first year I harvested broccoli only. I have amended the soil the way it is recommended. I am an organic grower. What can I do to get a better harvest or any harvest at all? And this is from Miss Elizabeth over there in Pleasant View, okay? So Walter, she's an organic grower. What can she do to get a better harvest or any harvest at all besides feeding the green worms?
Well, one, I would like to make sure that she's getting them planted before April 1st, to give them time to grow and do what cold crops do.
Okay.
And as far as the fall goes, if she would get them planted probably before August 15th, around that time, maybe July 20th through August 15th is a good time to plant for your fall cold crops. Now also, as far as the worms are concerned, I would probably say she needs to get something with Bacillus thuringiensis, a BT product, which will take care of that worm. Probably dealing with the cabbage looper.
Probably, yeah.
That's what I'm imagining she's probably dealing
Yeah,
with.
because she's growing cabbage. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I know that looper's probably out there.
And also, cold crops really, they do not like acidic soils at all. So we need to get that pH up. And also, whenever it's very low as far as acidic is concerned, it tends not to utilize magnesium. So you might want to add a little Epsom salt out there as well. And she probably will have her problems taken care of.
Okay. All right. And something else I like to suggest too, resistant varieties.
Well, yes.
Always help.
Always, yes.
And how about selecting those varieties that actually come early?
That's
or
right.
mature early.
Yes, that's true.
So
That's
maybe
true.
you don't have to worry about the green worms that are out in the garden.
That's right.
All right, Mr. Elizabeth, we thank you for that question. Here's our next viewer question. What insects are these, and what do I need to do about them? This is Miss Janet here in Memphis. And what do you think those are?
I would imagine some type of scale. I don't know which particular scale, but that's probably what it is. And also, you know, in the winter months, you could apply a dormant oil. And then I will tell you this, probably come spring, I would probably spray that with malathion to go in on and catch them as they, I guess, coming out, emerging or whatever. Okay. That's how I would probably treat that situation.
These are what you call T scales.
Okay,
they're on a camellia. Okay. I actually had a camellia, so yeah, T scales. And it gets its name because, of course, one species of camellia is actually used for tea. Okay. So if you flip the leaf over, okay, you'll see the males and the females, pretty distinct. The females are either brown, gray, or black. Okay. And the males are white. Okay. They have pure-sucking mouth parts, and of course, they're sucking plant juice.
Yeah, all the juice.
You know, right out of the cells of the plant.
Just sucking the life out of it.
Sucking the life out of it, especially if you have a lot of them, you know, on your leaves. This is what I tell folks to do. Let me go back to what I said for the first question. Always look for resistant varieties.
Yes.
That helps. If you want to treat them, look, if it's just a couple of leaves, just take them off. Now, if it's a lot of leaves, then I would go to the oils. You know, you can do, in the springtime, you can go with a horticultural oil.
Right.
Or neem oil.
Neem is
Okay?
right.
Yes. You can do that. Those are safe. So horticultural oil, neem oil, resistant varieties, I think you'll be just fine. Okay? All right, here's our next question. Is now a good time to test my soil? What do y'all think about that, ladies?
Amen.
Don't you think it's a good time to do that?
time.
It's the best time. Yes. What do you think, Walt?
Well, yes, it's always a good time to test our soils. We would prefer that you do it in the fall, so that in case you need calcium in the soil, you add that lime, because it takes that lime about 5 to 6 months to break down before the plant can take the calcium up. But really, any time is a good time. Yes, anytime.
And why do we test our soils anyway in the first place?
Mainly for the pH, and also to make sure that we're not spending a lot of money on fertilizer and fertilizing too much or not enough. If that's, you know, if you use fertilizer.
Yeah, we're trying to help you save money.
Yes, and also protect the environment.
Protect the environment, that's right.
You know, so the proper amounts can be out there.
That's right. I always say, why guess soil tests?
Yes.
You know, take the guessing out of it.
Yes.
You know, $7, best $7 investment you can make.
It's cheap.
Right.
You know, and it's good for 10 acres. So I say you can actually test your soil for 70 cents an acre. Think about that.
70 cents an acre. I got you.
That's a new way to look at it.
It is. I've had my soil tested. Have you had yours?
Oh, yes.
You see?
Yes.
You get your soil tested. Go ahead.
It also helps you to prevent you from salting your soil.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
If you use too much fertilizer and you just continue to reapply it, like I know some people that do, then your salt levels rise, and it's very hard to get that back down.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so here's our next question. And ladies, y'all like this one. Are my pansies going to bounce back after all of this rain and cold weather? What do y'all think?
Oh, they are.
They will.
Just when you feel like you have got to take them out to put your annuals in, they are going to be prettier than they have ever been.
I said it every
That's
year.
right.
Yes.
I say it every year. The hardest thing is to take them out of the beds.
Yes.
They look so good, you know, as it starts to warm up a little bit, and it's like, oh, man.
Yes.
You got to come out.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, you know, after that last flush out, though, they make real good compost material. So get that last flush, and then
And compost.
And put all that energy in the compost pile.
In the compost. But we can't we take off, you know, some of those spent blooms and things like that?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you can extend
eat
it.
those.
You can extend it, yes. What did you say?
You can eat
Yeah,
those.
you can eat them all. Okay.
You
Decorate
can
your
eat.
cake with them.
You
can eat
Really?
pansy
Well, I didn't know
blooms.
that.
Okay. What do they taste like?
They taste like a pansy.
All right, so it tastes like a pansy. There you have it. All right, Walt, Miss G, Miss Jeannie, we're out of time. Thanks for being here today.
We
Thank you
enjoyed
for
it.
having
Thank
us. Yes.
Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. Family Plot now has a website, familyplotgarden.com. It has all sorts of great gardening advice. You can watch individual segments and answers to viewer questions. And with each video, we have links to extension publications on that topic. You can print them and take them with you into your garden. So if you want to rewatch something you saw on today's show or want more information, go to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today, but we are just getting started this season. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Cooper. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by Good Winds Landscape and Garden Center in Germantown since 1943 and continuing to offer its plants for successful gardening with 7 greenhouses and 3 acres of plants, plus comprehensive landscape services. International Paper Foundation, the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.